All right, let's do this. It's the Overrated Experience Sports and Sports Betting Podcast. This is episode 36, season 2 of this epic podcast in this franchise that's been around for just over a year. Welcome back. Welcome back. And for those who just joined, you can join us on Twitter at OverratedEXPER2. That's OverratedEXPER2. Follow my comments, follow our guests' comments. Just join. Let me see what your thoughts are on the podcast, what your thoughts are about the latest news in sports, also sports betting. And that's what this podcast is. It's a podcast focused on sports betting and also the biggest news in sports. Right now, the betting aspect is going to mostly be focused on the NFL as we wind down the season and head into the playoffs. Wild card weekend this weekend. So don't be surprised to hear a lot of NFL today. Going forward, as the season winds down, of course, we'll have to expand and go into sports like the NHL, NBA, some golf, and some other things. So stay tuned for that. And wow, we got a lot going on here, especially, like I said, wild card weekend and a few news items. So we'll kick it off with some news items, and then we'll get into what to expect going into the wild card weekend, and we're going to look at it from a props perspective. If you tune into episode 35, which is already posted, you will be able to listen to our picks on this weekend's spread picks. So take a listen to that too if you haven't already. And here we go. All right. So sports topics, sports news, couple items, one from the NBA. Before we get to the big story, what happened in the NFL today, which was Darko Rakovic, Toronto Raptors head coach. If you didn't see this already, on Monday night, I think it was Monday. Monday. No, Tuesday night, Raptors were taking on the Lakers, lose by 1. But the story here is that the foul discrepancy in the fourth quarter, where the Lakers received, the Raptors were called for 22 fouls and had 22 free throws versus the Raptors that had 2. And I think there was like a 4-minute stretch in the fourth quarter where the Raptors had nothing, which right now, that's impossible. In the NBA, if you watch any NBA game, there's not a lot of physicality that doesn't result in a whistle and somebody going to the line. So there's something fishy about this game and how the result turned out and the discrepancy in fouls. So I can't disagree with the way Darko went off. And what the funny thing here is that Darko, as a coach, first year with the Raptors, he seems more like a very positive guy. Things are going well. I'm happy to be here. And I didn't think he had it in him, his rant he went on after the game. So I'm going to play a clip of that rant, and we'll talk it through.
Our team as well. How's possible that Scotty Barnes, who is all-star caliber player in this league, he goes every single time to the rim with force and trying to get to the rim without flopping and not trying to get foul calls. He gets 2 free throws for the whole game. How's that possible? How are you going to explain that to me? They had to win tonight? If that's the case, just let us know so we don't show up for the game. Just give them a win. But that was not fair tonight. And this is not happening first time for us. Scotty Barnes is going to be all-star. He's going to be the face of this league. And what's happening over here during whole season, I've been holding it back, it's a complete crap.
Coach, do you feel like you're getting any explanations at all? That offensive foul, did you see, get any explanation?
No, there is no explanation. They just come up there, they review and they see what they want to see. They don't want to hear us, what we got to say. They don't want to hear the players. They don't just want to protect us. Over again, they got 36 free throws, 23 free throws in the fourth quarter. What are we talking about? How are we supposed to play?
Is this a one-off, or do you feel
Players in our team as well.
Okay, so I love, this is an epic rant. I've watched it 18, 20 times. I love it. He's trying to be polite. At the same time, you could see the rage just forming in him. He can't even get his words out fast enough. And it just reminds me of a situation that I heard of not too long ago, where I was witnessing an older gentleman in a hospital, just, in passing. And he was very, very upset on the way he was being treated, disrespected. And it kind of had that feel here, right? Like, what's going on? Why am I being disrespected? And he got to a point where he was stating like the following, like, do you know revenge? Revenge. Revenge. Do you know this word, revenge? Like, that's to the point where this gentleman was fed up so much with what the situation was. He was at the point of revenge. Like that, like there's no going back from my anger on this one. And that's where I felt Darko was getting there, that like they crossed the line as officials. And he got fined $25,000. But and it's not a shock. The NBA is and any league's going to step in once you directly criticize the fairness of the officiating and criticizing the league. So it's no shock that he got fined. And I'm hoping the Raptors cut the check for him, because in the NBA, more than any other sport, there's the haves and have-nots, the Lakers and the Raptors. If you compare those two franchises, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Scottie Barnes for the Raptors. And sometimes there's got to be a rant like this and a kind of a check balance situation going on when you have teams like the Raptors and some of the smaller clubs in the NBA, to remind the officials in the league that, yeah, I know that you want the Lakers to ensure they're making the playoffs, but let's calm it down here. Let's pump the brakes here a little bit. Let's not get too ridiculous on the officiating, and not blowing open the idea that you're probably leaning to one side versus another. Let's just calm down. Let's keep you honest a little bit by having a little rant. So I think that helps. I think it's going to spark the team here. So Darko, good for you, buddy. And if you piqued my interest back in the Raptors, even though they've been struggling, but it seems that it's something to watch now. So good job, Darko. All right, big news, NFL. Bill Belichick, the news broke this morning that he's parting ways with the New England Patriots. If you've listened to this podcast, you've heard me talk about the need for the Patriots to move on. There's nothing wrong with parting ways when it's time. And guess what? It's time. 6 Super Bowls, 24 seasons. The last couple seasons have been on the decline. And the Patriots are in a situation where they need to think of a different direction, player personnel, and really take the next few years to really build up and attempt to become a playoff team again. And that's not happening. And I think Bill Belichick recognized that. And there's probably more opportunity to look outside if he wants to remain coaching. And there's going to be hundreds of phone calls coming to his way for opportunities, coaching or media or other things. So I don't think it's going to be a problem for Bill to pay for that next grocery bill. Don't worry about it. But he is, like I said, a 6-time Super Bowl champion. In my opinion, and most people's opinion, the best NFL coach of all time, the GOAT. No question about it. And he leaves think about it, he leaves 6 Super Bowls behind. That is a legacy. He was all smiles today in his press conference, but Bill Belichick gone. And the funny part here is, like the high level named coaches that also have left their post or fired or left in the last 24 hours, along with Bill Belichick. So you have Nick Saban, Alabama coach, who was actually Bill Belichick's defensive coordinator way back in the day with the Cleveland Browns. Legendary college football coach in Alabama. It's going to rock that program, to be honest. Alabama will not be the Alabama we've seen the last 10 years. Pete Carroll fired in Seattle. Didn't see this one coming, but he's 72 years old. Seattle looking to go a different way. Who knows what the story is to why they're parting ways? Maybe Pete wanted, maybe he wanted out. I don't know, but looks like they let him go. Mike Vrabel, I can't recall if we talked about this on Tuesday or if it did happen on Tuesday, but Vrabel out in Tennessee. And the weird story here is that might have been influenced by ownership of the Titans not happy with the Mike Vrabel Hall of Fame, New England Hall of Fame appearance earlier this year. And if the Titans really fired him based on something like that and the ownership took something personal and had their feelings hurt, then the Tennessee Titans are in for some dark times. You can't run a franchise like that. You let him go, and there's talk out there that they could have possibly traded a coach. This happened before, right? There's draft picks involved when you have to move a coach that's under contract. And Mike Vrabel would have been a popular choice for many teams out there. So kind of don't know what Tennessee's doing in there. They may be sinking, and sinking fast. All right, we're going on to Wild Card Weekend, Super Wild Card Weekend, and I can't wait to get this kicked off. Now, the only thing that sucks is there's a couple games in here that have ridiculous weather situations, so you don't know what the hell's going to happen in those games. You can't figure out if there's a ridiculous wind or snow. So as we go through these, keep in mind Miami, Kansas City might be the coldest NFL game ever with snow and just an insane weather report. And then the game in Buffalo, Pittsburgh Steelers and Buffalo Bills, weather's also going to be an issue, especially the wind, like 30, 40, 50 mile an hour winds. Does that completely eliminate the kicking game, the passing game? What's that going to look like? I don't know if that's an advantage for Buffalo or not being at home. You are the superior team, and when you have a weather factor come into play, does that favor the side of the Pittsburgh Steelers? I don't know. I think it may even these teams up more than we think. But we're going to kick it off in Houston, Cleveland, Joey Flacco, back at it, the hero in Cleveland, off his couch midseason. He's taking this team to the playoffs. And this is a rematch from a few weeks back where Amari Cooper went off and Flacco had a big game and C.J. Stroud was not playing. And Cleveland easily took out the Houston Texans. But again, without C.J. Stroud, we can't really look at that as a real measurement of comparison. So CJ's back, and a couple plays we have here. Wide receiver for the Houston Texans, Nico Collins, over 76.5 yards receiving, minus 114 on FanDuel. He's been on fire. He's the only time since November 26th that he hasn't really hit those targets was 2 games. One in a bad weather situation against the New York Jets, where the Houston Texans struggled, and also the last game against Cleveland. But that was without C.J. Stroud, so I'm not going to look too deep into that. I'm going to back my boy Nico Collins here. Also, C.J. Stroud, I gotta go with the superstars, man. You gotta back the stars, and his passing ratings 242.5. I know it's against that Cleveland defense, but I gotta like a guy like C.J. Stroud and his caliber to step up and put some yards on the board. And 242.5 to me is short. And if they're losing, he's going to be jacking up long bombs, and he's going to complete a few of them. So I think he'll sail over that 242.5 with quite the ease. David Njoku, Cleveland tight end, has been a favorite receiver for Joe Flacco, and he's gone over 100 yards many times. But my play with him is going to be over long pass reception of 19.5 yards. He's going to get a lot of touches, and he's great after he catches the ball. So I think 20 yards minimum here is well within his range to exceed on at least one of these receptions. Now we go to the wintry, cold Kansas City, Miami showdown on Saturday night. The Miami Dolphins choking the division away, losing it to the Buffalo Bills. Signed, sealed, and delivered Sunday night, losing to the Buffalo Bills. And the Kansas City Chiefs come into this game struggling on offense. Where do they get their offense from? And then throw in cold weather. Does that help them? Not help them? And on Tuesday's podcast, I took the Kansas City Chiefs, -4, and I've been thinking over the last 24 hours, who does this weather suit? Yeah, of course, Miami. A team from Miami probably does not bode well in colder weather. Now, I'm going to make a few plays here that may not make sense, but I'm just going to kind of run with my philosophy here. So the way the Dolphins play and the way Tua plays and the way he's successful is when they have bang, bang, quick plays where he's hitting guys out of their route or out of their jump, out of their cut. It's very timing routes, and I think that can be very beneficial if Tua can get back to that, because there's going to be a lot of it when the ball does go to the air, a lot of quick 5 and outs, a lot of quick passes, and this might be to the advantage of the Miami Dolphins because this is how they play and this is how they've played all season long. So maybe this suits them better to move the ball because the defender can't cut and there's a delay when the receiver knows where he's going and the DB's got to react, and that might be an advantage for the offense and offensive plays like Miami. So let's keep that in mind. So where I'm going to go with that is Tua, I believe, is going to complete over 20.5 pass completions. I'm not going to say they're going to be bombs. They're going to be very short passes, but I think he goes over that mark no problem. Also, I have, and I don't know why I'm doing this in such a bad weather game, but I cannot go the other way and I cannot take the under, and that's Tyreek Hill's over/under for reception yards over 86.5. I got to believe, facing his former team, he wants to put some damage on the board. Will he do it in this weather situation? I don't know, but if there's a guy going to do it, it's going to be T. Hill there. And also Travis Kelce, I got to believe he's going to rebound after a couple weeks down. That his over-under 5.5, which would be a joke, at least going through the midweek or mid-season, I have it over a 5.5 pass receptions at -120. And then I have the Dolphins team total over 19.5. I think they stay in this game if they get the running game going, that short passing game going. They got weapons, so 20 points. Why can't they? So I'll take that every day of the week. Now we move on to Sunday. Sunday in another bad weather game, and that is Pittsburgh heads on to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills come to this game as heavy favorites, but again, is the weather going to be the equalizer? Will the wind eliminate, Josh Allen going to the air and having a better advantage in the air than Mason Rudolph? Maybe that does. But what I'll tell you, though, is Josh Allen also goes on the ground. And his over-under for rushing yards is 38.5. And I got to believe there are going to be more Josh Allen played calls for running in this game, more than normal. And I think over 38.5 is an absolute target we can hit here. Pittsburgh, Najee Harris, running back. I'm surprised that his over-under for rushing yards is still 60.5. He's been tearing it up of late. So I took the over in this one. I know he splits time with Warren, but Najee's the main dude. And I think he'll be ready to go, and he'll break a few long ones out. And I think he'll be in the 70-80 range, if not 100 in this game. But another running back to keep an eye on this game is James Cook. Explosive running back for the Buffalo Bills. I have him longest rush over 14.5 yards. He breaks one, he's gone. He gone. So watch out for James Cooks. Dallas, Green Bay. So Dallas, you know what I feel about them. Frauds. Absolute frauds. But will they be frauds in week 1 of the playoffs? I tend to think not. And they take on the Green Bay Packers. And I got a few plays here. I got to go with the Cowboys lighting teams up at home. I'm going to say that Dak, passing yards over 275.5, he might crush it. And he just might keep going off if they start walking over Green Bay just to show the media up who's criticized his playoff performance. Aaron Jones, pretty much injured all year, running back for the Green Bay Packers, basically tanked my fantasy football season as I had him in both my fantasy teams. But he is on fire and a go-to guy for Matt LaFleur's offense and Jordan Love. His rushing total is 71.5. I like it. I like it a lot. So over in that play. Also another Aaron Jones play. There's a prop in there that asks or says, do you think that Aaron Jones will at least have 25 yards in both the first and the second halves? I say hell yeah. I say yeah, hell yeah. He will at plus 110. I think he'll get the rock. And that is also hoping that Green Bay keeps this matchup close and hopefully Dallas does not blow them out. Those are the plays I have for there. Also in the LA Detroit game, what a game, right? Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford returning to Detroit, Goff against his former teammates. Big game, Sunday Night Football. But I got to believe there's going to be a big game for Cooper Kupp. 68.5 yards. I know that Stafford can go to Puka and other receivers, but I think he comes back. Playoffs, familiarity. I think Cooper Kupp has a big game. I think it's going to be a shootout, by the way, so I got some overs on both sides as far as receiving yards. And then you have Goff, over 1.5 passing yards. I mean, I would take that all day. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns at minus 114. I'll take that. I mean, he's off and on. 2, 1, 1. If you look back in his, game log. But again, I think this is going to be a shootout, and he might get this by the first half. So Jared Goff over touchdown and a half. Detroit's Ahmad St. Brown over 76.5 yards receiving. He's an explosive receiver. He's pissed off that he didn't make the Pro Bowl. And I think he's going to be a go-to guy for Jared Goff on Sunday night. And I think he might light up triple digits for Mr. St. Brown. And another play to kind of close out the week itself is that there's weekend specials on FanDuel. So I like these. Like these are interesting because it mixes in a lot of the other teams altogether. What did it take here? It took Cowboys, Lions, and Rams to combine for 11 or more touchdowns. What do you think? Cowboys, playing at home, they get stupid and start throwing up a lot of touchdowns. And if you think the Lions-Rams game is going to be a shootout, is it really out of the possibility 11 touchdowns for a plus 135 payout? I'll take it. Well, it's late. It's Thursday. And I can't take the excitement anymore. It's time for me to head out of here. The pleasure's all been yours. It's almost here. Super wild card, weekend. And what I'll tell you right now is the overrated experience is going hardcore this weekend, betting the action. And I hope you do too, but on a safe way, of course, and be responsible. But the overrated experience is over, and it's out. Bye-bye.